What's going on, world? It's your boy Gemini Brown here, back with another episode of Nalo Kicking Knowledge. Today, we'll be taking a look at this week's forecast, seeing what the stars have in store for us. So, let's get into it. As always, shout out to all the Gemini celebrating birthdays this week. Pay close attention to this energy as it'll be with you all year. So, let's get into it. Now, y'all, as many of you know, Mercury is now retrograde, but it's retrograde in its own sign of Gemini. And there's like so much going on in the cosmos. So like I said, for those of you out there having birthdays this week, this is a hell of some energy to have for the year, all right? So definitely listen to this message. So we know Mercury retrograde, or retrogrades in general, or a period where the energy of the planet gets turned inward. So rather than naturally expressing and stuff, we're thinking more, we're more methodical. Things come back so we can reevaluate them. So I always like to focus on that part of the retrograde. Redo, reevaluate, refine, okay? So there are going to be things, people, ideas from our past all coming back. And the thing about it with Gemini, with it occurring in the sign of Gemini, I feel like it really can be a multitude of things in general that are asking to be reworked or relooked at, all right? And really including friends and acquaintances, all right? So as we go ahead and look at the aspects of this retrograde, because what I like to do is I found that the day that the retrograde occurs, when the planet goes retrograde, the state of those aspects, particularly if they're really tight ones, are going to have an overall influence and theme on the cycle ahead. So by understanding those, you can actually know how to navigate and what to expect during the period, all right? So at the time Mercury went retrograde, it happened to be conjunct the planet Venus, okay? So both of these in the sign of Gemini. And when Mercury and Venus come together in conjunction in terms of creativity and using the mind towards things that we love, all of that is enhanced. So the first thing for the cycle, and for those of you the solar energy, this is going to be about gathering, learning, and because of the presence of the South Node in Sag, it's going to be about aligning with the correct wisdom, right? So learning something new, acknowledging where you were wrong in the past or how you've held yourself back in the past, and then literally make wise choices. Because remember, Mercury is logic, Venus is, love, relationships, harmony, balance, and we need a new approach. So wherever this is happening in your chart is a signifying of a new perspective, of a new skill, of a new talent, of a new beginning. Now, during this retrograde, you're going to go ahead and you're going to be engulfed in that new thing. But something from the past that had stunted you, and it could be Gemini syndrome in the sense of, oh, I'm bored with this, I'm going to go on to the next thing. It could be that. It could be your self-belief. It could be how you're emotionally relating to things. Something, okay, is going to play out as it has played out in the past. But the key will be to exercise the correct choice, aka wisdom. All right? So that's that. So overall, I'm loving the influence of Mercury and Venus in Gemini. This is making us playful. This is making us youthful, wanting to express. That's the key thing. You want to express, or you want to gain the understanding. You're open. You're open. However, Neptune squares. All right, I'm going to get to that. I want to just talk a little bit more on this conjunction. So for others of you, you're really communication is truly going to be key for you, particularly in the sense of relationships. So I can even use myself as an all-around teacher, a teacher of astrology, a teacher of education, period. I'm much more conscious under this energy of how to teach better or how people receive information. So it's rather it's rather fun for me, right? But like I said, I'm open to it. I'm paying attention. I'm not seeing what I want to see, and that's gonna be key to when we go here to these these Neptune squares. You can't see what you want to see. You got to accept the reality. All right. So once again, this conjunction is allowing you to really listen to people and to really express yourself in a way in which you can finally be understood if you felt it's hard for you to, or for you to really understand someone. But it's going to force you to see both sides, right? And then some of this you might be wrong. All right, so that's that. Then, just so I can give the insight for this week, Venus is going to leave Gemini and head into Cancer. That's going to happen during the middle of the week, all right? And then when it gets there, it's going to come into a trine with Jupiter, who's freshly in Pisces. So this is adding towards what I just said about exercising the correct wisdom or seeing correctly. This can be a great time to be really devoted towards your spirituality, or gaining the proper perspective regarding any emotional dilemmas and things of that nature. Whatever was new in Gemini in regards to Venus is gonna, the foundation is gonna need a little bit more solid foundation. The foundation is going to need to be a little bit more solid. So, things are light and fun in Gemini. They could get serious and emotional in Cancer. So keep that in mind, all right? Now, going back to the retrograde and then bringing in the squares to Neptune. This is really, really, really interesting. And okay, so it's levels to this. The first thing that I want to say is that when it comes to the themes of the retrograde and these particular aspects, anybody with planets within these last decades, the last 20 degrees of a sign, particularly anywhere around where the retrograde and Neptune are, these themes are going to play out differently, or this energy will be felt. So 21 degrees, 22, 23, 24, regardless of sign, you just want to check the aspects if it's making a precise aspect or not. All right. So the first thing here, and because Mercury and Venus are involved, is there is going to be an air of distrustfulness, feeling distrustful towards others. Or rather, no, I didn't say that correctly. You will need to be a little distrustful. You can't, so this energy with Neptune, how Neptune goes is like, if I'm into somebody right now, I'm head over heels. I'm idolizing them. They're perfect. I'm planning our future. But the way the energy goes is the more you're in that direction and seeing it, the more you can't actually see what's going on. So the advice here is just to remain level and grounded. All right. This is also going to, for anyone with Venus in the 12th, this is going to ignite those scenarios too. So pay attention as well. Right. So Venus and Neptune, there's a real need to want to see what we want to see and not see what is actually occurring. And then here's the thing, because Mercury is the lower mind. And I always say, whenever I see Mercury square Neptune in someone's chart, I'm like, you have to tune into the lies that you tell to yourself, or the stories, or your misperception of things. So now when we add the retrograde to this confusion influence of communication and relationships, what we find here is overthinking or overanalyzing. And when I add Mars and the Pluto contact, what we get here, particularly this week, is a whole lot of projecting. And projecting, I feel like, is something that as a spiritual person or anyone on a spiritual journey, if you can become conscious of that and not project, you ascend higher, because then you become aware of what is your shit and what is not. So then when someone projects to you, you're like, you don't even get mad. You're like, hey, are you okay? You're asking, are you okay? Is there something you want to say? But needless to say, so this can be one where it's just a whole lot of things are just not going to be what they seem. So I want to say, like, if you're having, say this transit is happening for you in like a first house, a fifth house, ninth house, a willful house, you can be really acting a fool out here. There can be you're trying to get someone's attention that clearly doesn't want to give you their attention, or is like, you're barking up the wrong tree. So there's a need, and mind you, at a deeper level, this is helping you evolve. Because if you can master, like, through this weather, it's like you'll learn how to trust your intuition a little bit better. Because it's weird, because it's going to be like, okay, man, I'm talking to someone and it feels off. Maybe I should like go harder to let them know that I'm actually interested, right? Those are for the people who don't have this awareness, right? For those of you who are here who do have this awareness, you got to know, like, oh, this is some Neptune stuff. I don't know what's going on, so the best thing for me to do is just let it flow, right? Instead of inferring what could be wrong, or because then there's another person, oh, I wonder what I did wrong, or I wonder why it's like this. They must be doing something else. You literally just want to be still. And then as a reminder, we know that Mercury retrograde isn't necessarily the best time to communicate deep things. Like, you know, if this is happening in your 8th house, 4th house, no, it's not necessarily the best time. It's best to observe and reevaluate, reapproach it, look at it differently, okay? So, seriously, Spirit was big on that. We had to laugh about it because it's just like, dang. If you've been on your journey long enough, these things repeat themselves. You got to be aware. You got to be able to see them. And how you transcend them is correct action, correct choice, you know? Okay, so that's happening. And then the sun is meeting up with the North Node. Very fated happenings. Be within flow. Be open towards like that childlike curiosity. Let that lead you right now. Y'all know me. I naturally Mercury ruled. I love reading. It's always Gemini season out here. But I'm telling you guys, right now, with this energy, go into a bookstore with not necessarily something that you want in mind, a bookstore, a library. Just go look and let Spirit guide you to that information that you need. Because I'm going to make another video about an initiation happening spiritually for everyone. All right. But my advice for this week with the North Node is like something fading, and more than likely that's gonna come into terms of information. Or if you're someone out there and you know you've been contemplating, like, okay, I'm gonna sign up for school or whatever, the Mercury retrograde says don't necessarily sign it right now. Plan it out, really evaluate it. Look for, if you've had a plan, now reanalyze the plan to look for any holes or anything like that within it, okay? So then we have Mercury here, Mercury here, Venus here, Queen conjunction Pluto, which I feel like is a very interesting energy here. To me, it speaks of self-discipline, because Mercury is the mind, and then Capricorn is the pursuit of success, and the scaling of the mountain, and overall the discipline and structure needed. So you got to really be mindful of how you plan things out, or the energy, or are your things realistic? Are you actually doing the work required to manifest said thing, stuff like that, okay? It's a lot here. It's a lot. So then lastly, I'm going to just finish with the Mars opposing Pluto. Remember, when Mars and Pluto come together, we get testy. To me, that's violence. You know what I'm saying? So naturally, in the sense of, Cancer and Capricorn, there can be problems within the home. And then I just explained to you the influence of the retrograde. So, add that with relationships, the arguments, the things it can go to 0 to 100 real quick, right? We could be easily angered by our loved ones. And our loved ones, or we can take out our anger on one another. Okay? And I just feel like, almost like I want to say karmic in the sense of like, because words are powerful, so I choose mine correctly. Just don't do anything unnecessarily. Like in terms of like impulse and anger, the ramifications can really not be good. That's really what I'm getting here. Okay? Because remember, it's opposition. It's Mars opposing Pluto. So say you're pushing on the other side. Say you're being Mars and you're emotionally pushing, and Pluto decides to push back. You're not going to like that. So I hope that makes sense. But nonetheless, I'll be back with another video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Feel free to chime in. Let me know what's going on in your world. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, you could do so now. If you need a reading, click the description link. Send me an email. We'll set something up. Until next time, peace.